Welcome to the Cybersecurity Competition Federation show. I'm Dan Manson. I teach computer information systems at Cal Poly Pomona and serve as principal investigator for a National Science Foundation grant to help form an umbrella organization over cybersecurity competitions. The Cybersecurity Competition Federation can support the development of skill at a large scale by bringing cybersecurity competitions under an umbrella organization, which will help players of all ages and skill levels identify a point of entry into a continuum of cybersecurity competition experiences. With a focus on communication and promotion, the CCF maintains the autonomy of competition creators, supports their business models, and does not interfere with their sponsorship or funding sources. The National Cyber League was founded in May 2011 to provide an ongoing virtual training ground for collegiate students to develop, practice, and validate their cybersecurity skills using next-generation, high-fidelity simulation environments. This fall, over 2,000 students will play NCL, up 50% from last year. CyberFed spoke recently with Casey O'Brien, Commissioner for the National Cyber League.
When stealing data began, and others joined the fight against them, the rise of cybersecurity competitions began. Register now to get the full access to the virtual training ground. Develop, practice, validate your cybersecurity skills. Get ready for the NCL Fall Season Games.
When you talk about the scouting reports, is this something that other competitions don't provide? Are you able to drill down and actually give the players stats on their performance?
So the answer is yes, we can get players on this, not only the stats of their performance, but rank them against other players and other competitions. I haven't really seen anything like this. There's a lot of buzz, and has been a lot of buzz in information security circles in the past couple of years, especially in academia, but also industry space around performance-based assessments, and we've been doing it for a couple of years. So statistics would include things like, so for example, we have really 3 distinct seasons in the NCL. The preseason and the regular season, that's 2 seasons. They're really designed for individuals to compete on their own. And the whole point of the preseason is come into our environment, come into the stadium, bring the knowledge and skills you have, and we'll give you a range of challenges, and let's see how well you do. And then that allows us to basically kind of rank people throughout the country. And then the regular season, you're actually competing as an individual.
Do you have a few stories you can tell about participants in NCL, how they've done, where they're going?
Yeah, so one thing we see is our players competing in other competitions and doing well in other competitions. So for example, University of Central Florida has won the National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition in 2014, 2015. They're competing in the NCL. Programs, South Dakota State, for example, they've competed in the NCL in the past couple of years, done very well. They do very well in other competitions. So you see that, you see students going on and getting jobs at national labs, getting hired at Silicon Valley companies. We have a very strong, committed kind of core player base, which tend to be really some of the best players, I would argue, in the world. They're very, 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 very good, and they compete. And then we have this other contingency. A larger percentage of the players are in fact new, not only new to information security, but perhaps new to competitions. And it's a challenge, because how do you create assessments that are challenging for a really strong small player base, but aren't too challenging for a larger percentage of new folks, right? And that's something we're constantly battling with.
So it looks like a student can jump in, but what about a faculty that wants to have this as part of their course, but they've never done something like this before? What do you say?
So great questions. So one is we have some resources on the NCL website. We have a coaches link, and there are lots of resources there. So some videos for coaches to give them a sense of what this is. syllabi, lab exercises. We do a lot of hand-holding with coaches, so we'll run WebExes and webinars specifically for coaches, give them access to the gym and the stadium environments, right? I mean, I think one thing we really need is some kind of a formal coaching program. I don't know, I don't know how we go about doing this, but we have kind of the equivalent in this emerging sport of people who are coaching the sport who have never played. And that's a real big challenge. And, and I know we need to have some kind of a more formalized program. The reality though is just, again, it's resource limitations. So we do have some resources, and we do have videos, and we do a lot of webinars. But again, I say to the faculty, you also really just have to jump in. You have to include the lab exercises in your classes, and you have to go into the competition environments yourself.
We continue this week with Inside the Game. Substituting for Jason Pittman today is Matt Springle. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks for having me. Hey, everybody.
Matt, you like to play in competitions. You play in the National Cyber League. You have played in Cyber Patriot for several years. You would like to play in more competitions. What do you like about the National Cyber League?
The National Cyber League is really interesting when you think about competitions because of its variety of competitions that it kind of has inside of it. So you have the postseason, and then you have the regular season, and you have the preseason. And they're all kind of set up a specific way. The competition definitely has a lot of variety in terms of challenges. So there's exploitation, password cracking, network analysis, and a variety of other areas, which kind of makes it different from other competitions. Because most other competitions focus on one, but this has more than one, so that's kind of interesting.
Now, one of the goals of NCL is to actually tie it to the classroom, tie it to learning objectives. Do you think that NCL does more than just give you a competition experience? It actually is able to teach you a body of knowledge?
I would say yes. The preseason round is kind of set up to determine where you want to go in terms of your bracket placing during the regular season. But what they also do is it gives you a chance to see what you're good at and what you're bad at, and then you can go practice those skills in the gymnasium, which is something that most other competitions don't have.
NCL has the scouting report. Is this something that you plan to use in the future when you go on interviews, when you want to talk to people about skills that you've learned?
Definitely. I think the scouting report's really interesting, and it shows your accuracy in addition to which questions you get right, which I think is really important, because if you go up and against a bunch of other people, and all these other people have done the challenges and they get them right, but they get them right 50% of the time, but you're getting them right 95% of the time, I think that's very valuable, and employers will really like that.
Is this something you expect to see in other competitions in the future, kind of a set of stats about your performance?
I hope so. We always love to use the sport analogy, like with baseball. They have the RBIs, hits, batting average, all this stuff. I think it's going to be great to see when cyber starts going that direction, when you have accuracy in terms of your questions, how many you're getting right, what levels you're getting them right at. I think it's really valuable and interesting to look at.
Now, NCL has the preseason assessment, the regular season where you play as individuals, and the postseason you get to play as a team, and that's coming up. What do you like better, playing as an individual, or do you like playing as part of a team?
I really like playing as part of a team, and the reason is like this. I really don't like the fact that, like, during the regular season, I feel bad if I can't get challenges completed, and because there's not all the areas I'm specializing in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have a section or a portion of the competition where I don't have to be the expert in everything. I can have a team of experts in different things, and we can all play off each other and do really well.
If there's one thing that National Cyber League could do better, what would it be?
Well, if one thing that National Cyber League could do better, I'd like to see like a practice CTF environment. Mm-hmm. So where you can go and practice the challenges and get feedback on what you know and what you don't know. The preseason does this a little bit, but this season the preseason didn't have like all the competition areas that you can compete in. I think it'd be nice to have just kind of a regular like practice area, mm-hmm. the CTF style, so that way you can do the training in the gymnasium and then go practice there and then go compete.
Thank you, Matt. Speaking of challenges, I think we have a new one from Uncle Jimmy and Aunt Edith.
Welcome once again to Edicts by Edith, the show for the discerning connoisseurs of cybersecurity challenges. I am your hostess, Edith.
Hey, you guys, it's me, Uncle Jimmy. This week, we're talking about B-sides al dente, 200...
Jimmy,
Oh, what?
It's not al dente.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. The dente 250 challenge. So what you think, Edith?
That you always have food on your mind? But anyways, Jimmy, this is an example of a poorly crafted challenge. In particular, there's a note that indicates that a part of the challenge is incorrect, yet there's no indication of what that correction might be. Oh my!
Well, Edith, that sounds like a big bowl of spaghetti.
Again with the food? But sadly, Jimmy, there's no meatballs.
Well, that sounds no good. Anyways, Jason, back to you in your studio. Hey, next time you're in Jersey, you give me a call. I'm going to take you out to Alfredo's. We're going to have a good time.
If you have a competition you would like us to cover in a future show, please contact us at cyberfed.org. I'm Dan Manson. See you next week.